show up and comment on it if we felt like it was important enough not to be erased or
Well, yeah,
left out.
I totally agree with you. It shouldn't be left out.
Well, there was no intention to do that.
Well, certainly
So,
not. And if you'd like a copy of that one, the one that I read, Brad, do you have a copy of that one?
I'm sorry, what?
The policy that I read when the tape was turned off, do you have a copy of it?
Volunteer policy?
Right.
I believe it is.
You do? Okay. I was gonna say, if you don't have a, that is fine. I don't have a problem with that at all. And I do apologize for the issue.
John, can I ask, I'm sorry, just because I missed that. I mean, I'm aware of, I think, what you guys were talking about. So, it sounds like you covered it. It's fair to assume that won't be happening ever again, correct?
Shouldn't. I hope it doesn't. And, you know, unless we have power failure.
Well,
Of course, I mean.
fair enough.
Yeah. No, there's no intent. Trust me.
I guess I don't think that's an issue. I guess I'm concerned there. I mean, it's not an optional thing, and I just want to make sure that that's covered.
Right.
It's state law, it's not a request, so we need to do it the right way.
Right.
Fair enough.
That would be why we adhere to 192-640 subparagraph 3. Okay, is there any more comments from anyone?
Yeah, I got a comment. I haven't been here in a while. Well, my name is Stephen Morrison. Yeah, I'm a little amazed at this meeting tonight, that so many things have come to a head apparently. To get a vote of no confidence from the volunteers for the board and the chief is a very sad moment in the history of this department. I know that you have rules about executive session for employees, but I kind of like to hear what the board has to say, what their plans to try to mitigate some of these issues. And because, you know, apparently there's a big disconnect between volunteers and the department. There may be a disconnect between the community and the department itself. You know, so you know, these young men and women and some of the old men and women, they give a lot to this community, and they need the support from the board and the staff of this department. But, we won't get into staff issues, because I understand now that works under executive session. But however, I'd like to hear what you guys got to say, what's going on.
In respect to what's transpired this evening?
The volunteers did a vote of no confidence of the board. That's significant. You know, I mean, at least the Portland Police, you know, buried theirs after, you know, something got resolved.
Would I be at liberty to discuss the resolution? Or the
It's not a
consensus?
resolution, it's a consensus.
The consensus?
I think you'd be doing him a disservice.
Why? I don't. You don't think so?
You don't think so?
Let me.
Okay.
There's nothing that I have to say that I am not afraid to say in front of everybody in this room.
I'm not either, as long as there's no legal ramifications.
And I think
What the board is doing right now, we propose to the assistant chief that we are going to get an outside source, a mediator, to sit down with the officers and the chief and go over all the issues, where the problems are, and then that outside entity that has no dog in this fight will come to the board and say, this is what we've got going on, and the board will acknowledge that, and the result of that will be administered, whatever the resolution is going to be.
Basically, the facilitator listens to both sides of the issue, makes sure that both sides of the issue are down on a piece of paper, where if one person is saying one thing and one person is saying another, they listen to each other, and what's on that piece of paper is the issue. Then it's up to them to come up with a way to solve it. Then that sets goals for each entity, and it calls for accountability. Because
that's where we're headed, Steve.
if this, and this need to be done by the chief, and he doesn't do them, he's accountable for them.
I'm not asking about the chief. I'm asking about the board. The board has a responsibility.
This is what we are doing You ask a question, you ask what we're doing, we're telling you.
I understand what you're trying to say, but it doesn't seem to answer my thoughts.
You know,
Okay.
Steve, in what, 10 years I've known you, no answer I've ever given you.
Excuse me, Sheriff, this is not a forum for you to be beating up on me.
I'm not beating up on you, I'm just making a comment.
Derogatory comments that is not called for.
Yes.
Sorry, Steve, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Thank you.
Maybe I missed something here while I was gone, but, so the way I understand this is, the impression that I get from this path forward from the board is that you don't trust what the entire organization, minus one or two people, have been trying to tell the board what the issues are. We know what the issues are, all you have to do is listen to us. We voice them in writing, in person, and how long do we need to keep chewing on the same issues before your entire organization is gone, heart and soul?
What we're
And
trying to,
it's, we're already getting there. It's awful, in case you haven't noticed, it's really, really close. And it's not just one or two people stirring the pot, it's the entire organization, minus some probationary firefighters that are saying, look, here's what the issues are. I don't need a consultant to tell me where the problems are. If you need a consultant to tell you what the issues are, then you're not paying attention to what all your experience in this room, minus the fire chief, are saying. So you don't believe all these issues that we've been talking about are valid issues?
we're not using them
You
to
wanna
establish
prioritize
them.
them?
We're
So
not.
talk to your senior officers.
We're looking
We can
for an
probably help you
outside
prioritize.
entity to make resolution. If there is no resolution, then we'll have to do something else.
You lost me on the resolution part, I don't know, you know, so is this a 6-month process, a year process, you know? I know you guys can't tell me what, what happened in executive session, but I think the consultant idea is an extremely important path forward right here, now, today.
What would you propose?
I don't know if everybody's got time tonight to listen to me with the proposal, but there's no simple solution path forward other than some things need to change at the board level and at the fire chief level, and if they don't, your entire organization is at risk of walking out of here, shaking their head. And it's been coming to that for quite some time. It's at the boiling point. So the time for a consultant was maybe about a year or 5 years ago. You know, if we're gonna do that, how long is that gonna take?
I
My
think
experience with
consultant's not the right
consultants,
word.
my experience with consultants on the fire department going back 20 years ago has been it was a colossal waste of time and money.
Right.
So, we've been down that road before, and it resulted in where everybody knew it was going. So why do, these same issues we've been talking about for years, and we've been trying to work with Gary on these issues for years. And the board has not been addressing them for some time. So we're giving all these issues in writing. What's a consultant gonna do, other than put some stuff into writing that we've already done? Maybe, maybe Gary's got some issues he wants to add with how he wants to see the volunteers going differently.
Can we call them not a consultant, but a mediator? That's essentially what they're gonna be doing.
You've already got, how much experience do you have in this room from all these volunteers? How many years, Started your assistant chief and worked your way down. If you're not trusting what we're telling you, you're gonna trust a consultant who you're paying money to? I don't know, I just don't like it. It doesn't sit well with me at this point in time. It would have in the past.
Randy,
I've got
you said you
serious
put
concerns
these in
with that.
writing? You said you
sorry?
you guys have put recommendations in writing?
We've
Have they
addressed
gone
all
into
kinds of
there?
issues in writing.
Have you got letters that you haven't shared with us?
I've got notes that I've taken, and I have shared them verbally.
Have you got, he says they've been writing them down.
I'll be glad to give you my notes, you can try to figure them out, not a problem.
I know that in the last month, personally, I know a lot of suggestions have gone in the box, and as far as I know, discussions I've had with volunteers, I don't know that anybody's ever been approached by a single one of those that's gone into the box. Anybody correct me if I'm wrong?
And there have been several issues, not recommendations, but issues that have been addressed in the last 2 months that have been written down and provided, and we've gotten no follow-up on those either.
Well,
So far that-
keep in mind, those are kind of what we prioritize as the biggest safety issues to the volunteers, the biggest safety issues to the public. There's a bunch more issues that we haven't been bringing up. They're huge contributors to all this that many of the board members have heard about quite extensively for the last few months in person from all the officers. Obviously, we can only fix so many things at once, it's kind of insurmountable. We're trying to eat an elephant one bite at a time, and this whole, in the last couple of months, the effort on Gary's part to fix the relationships with all his officers and volunteers have been disingenuous, and they have not appeared to be sincere, wholehearted attempts at